This is why induced and forced airflow were invented. Both induced and forced draft airflow use fans to direct the flow of air. As the fans turn on and go faster or slower, we can better control the amount of air flowing over the condenser. Both induced draft airflow and forced draft airflow use fans to direct air. So what's the difference? In induced draft airflow, the blower fan pulls cool air through the hot condenser coils. In forced draft airflow, the blower fan pushes cool air through the hot condenser coils. To summarize, induced draft means pulling air, forced draft means pushing air. In both cases, we are using a blower fan to control how air is flowing over the condenser coils to cool them. To imagine the difference between induced and forced draft, let's think about filling a glass of water. Imagine turning on your tap and filling your glass full of water. This is like forced draft because water is pushed into your glass. Now, let's imagine we have an empty glass and we are in a pool. If we put the empty glass into the water, water will rush into the glass because it is empty. This is like induced draft because the water is pulled into the glass. Induced draft tends to be very noisy. Because of this, induced airflow is generally used only if noise is not an issue. With induced air, remember that we are pulling cool air through the condenser coils. Because of this, there will be a buildup of dirt on the outside of the condenser coils. Because the external side of condenser coils is much easier to clean than the internal side, induced draft is generally the best choice. Forced draft airflow is more quiet than induced draft. So we will use forced draft when noise is an important factor. But with forced air, remember that we are pushing air through the condenser coils. Because of this, dirt and dust will collect on the internal side of the condenser coils. With forced airflow, we have to make sure to clean the inside of the condenser coils. In some systems, both induced and forced draft are used to maintain balanced operating conditions. In this module, we reviewed what the condenser component does and what types of airflow that are. Natural airflow operates without a fan. Induced and forced airflow requires a fan to direct air over the condenser coils. Next, we will talk about the components of a condenser.